Hello, my name is Cristobal Catalan, and this study looks into the design potential of story-led exploration games, specifically the walking simulator game, as a potential intervention for general anxiety. We looked at general anxiety disorder, henceforth abbreviated as GAD, because it is one of the most common mental health conditions worldwide, impacting the quality of life of millions of people. There are, of course, medical and therapy-based treatments, but many people remain untreated due to limited access to care and retention issues with traditional interventions. So we wanted to explore new approaches, in particular by developing emerging game-based interventions using smart mobile technologies. We found that only a subset of game genres have been explored for anxiety disorders. Therefore, our goal is to address this knowledge gap by using walking simulator games to understand more about the core game design strategies that can help shape the design of effective serious game interventions for people living with GAD. So why did we choose walking simulator games? Firstly, they allow users to build voluntary game interactions from narrative clues that are spread throughout the virtual environments. This may potentially foster a story-led autonomy found to be useful in mental health studies. Secondly, the genre encourages a focus on game world exploration, which can optimize player engagement. Thirdly, these games scale back traditional gaming complexity, providing what genre scholars have referred to as meditative or peaceful walking experiences. Also, these games potentially provide users uniquely inclusive experiences. The genre offers a low barrier to entry. For example, there are no combat challenges, and the games promote the removal of aspects of failure or risk, such as game player death. At this early stage in the research journey, this study involved clinician subject experts to inform our design approaches as recommended by the National Institute of Health and Care Excellence. We recruited 10 mental health professionals in the UK, and over a 6-month period, we collected qualitative data using semi-structured one-to-one interviews. So what did we find out from the clinicians? Firstly, users wandering around and exploring the atmospheric virtual environments, one of the genre's key design experience mechanics, can be potentially helpful for people living with GAD. It was also noted that such well-maintained gardens and the traditional thatched houses found in some walking simulators may potentially trigger anxiety in some users from low-income backgrounds. Next, the clinicians also highlighted the potential to implement therapeutic activities, for example, prompting target users to engage in attentional focus exercises, as well as interactive activities available in some of these games, such as camping, swimming, or fishing. Participants highlighted the design of simple but repetitive activities that can exploit the design framework of the virtual environments for mindfulness and relaxation exercises. We also found that many sections of the game environments, such as the urban or nighttime spaces, could potentially trigger anxiety in some users. Clinicians highlighted the therapeutic potential of using these kinds of environmental designs to help GAD users develop tolerance and coping strategies. We can repurpose these kinds of immersive game worlds to integrate graded therapy, allowing users to engage in the stepped exposure of increasingly anxiety-triggering simulations, balanced with safe spaces. A key quality of walking simulator games is that it generally consists of expansive, unpopulated game spaces with no character interactions. Some of the participants felt the empty game world was a potentially negative characteristic for GAD users. Other clinicians suggested the solitary feature may in fact provide opportunities for user self-reliance. To mitigate the risks, some clinicians suggested the addition of living entities or virtual pets to balance this design quality. Virtual handwritten letters are spread throughout many walking simulator game environments as part of a narrative device that guides players' trajectory through the game worlds. Some participants alerted accessibility concerns with the text density or language. Participants also inputted that the storytelling devices, such as floating texts and narrator voices, could be integrated to support target users and guide them through therapeutic experiences. Overall input from the clinicians was generally positive about a range of this genre's core design mechanics. It is of note that some walking simulator games were modifications that leveraged the source engine tools and physics of the commercial game Half-Life 2. Given that commercial games have the potential for greater adherence and cost effectiveness, there is an opportunity for the design outcomes described in our paper to be implemented by research developers as mods to existing commercial games. We recognize that our findings indicate that the commercial or off-the-shelf walking simulator game may not be suitable for immediate use in interventions for GAD. GAD is, after all, a complex condition. As a result, there will need to be some customized design mechanics in many areas if these games are to be used for anxiety. We also acknowledge all the informants in this study were working in a UK context. This warrants further studies to determine similarities or differences in outcomes for potential diverse target groups, as well as other healthcare systems. To conclude, the domain experts offered useful preliminary design insights that open up new opportunities to build on in future studies. Obtaining user-centered feedback on this study's findings are an important next step in our work. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first study to report on data generated by mental health experts regarding the potential use of storytelling exploration games for anxiety. In this presentation, I have highlighted a high-level overview of this study. The paper has the full details. Thanks to my co-authors, Jonathan Hook and Lina Gega. It's been a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk with you about this study today.